Women have the power to transform this world. We can end crime and violence if we all agree to do one thing: share. Let's share our wisdom, share our time, share our talents, share our finances, but most of all, let's share our love. This is the Female Solution.
Hello.
Yes, indeed.
Welcome, Congressman Danny K. Davis from the 7th Congressional District. Welcome to On the Case. That is part of the Female Solution.
Thank you very much. It's good to be here on a Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, and the day after which millions of people have traveled from one place to another to be with family, friends, and loved ones. I too have had a wonderful Thanksgiving, and I'm delighted to be with you on this Friday evening.
Thank you so very much. So much is happening in Washington D.C., Congressman. I remember the government shutdown and the Republicans refusing to accept the Democrats' proposal for uh, reforming the American Care Act. Now the rubber is hitting the road right now because the deadline is coming up and they're all fighting each other still. What's up with that?
You know, I agree with you when you say that much is happening in Washington, District of Columbia, but there's also a great deal happening throughout America, in Chicago and Milwaukee and New York and California, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Tennessee, all over the country. I've been here for a decent period of time, Chinta, and I've never ever known the country to be as divided as it
Yes.
seems to be, as much in arms as it seems to be. And I've never known us to have a chief executive who is causing so much anxiety and is causing so many people to be concerned about the future, maybe during World War II, maybe during the Korean conflict, maybe, but I don't think so. I think that there was more recognition of the need to be together. It seems to me that the current chief executive wants to change the country in a different direction from which it has been going.
Yes.
We've been coming together over all of this period of time, and now he seems to be tearing us apart the best that he can, challenging our democracy, taking away the progressive thoughts and ideas that have guided and directed this country to the point where we could at least say we'd made some progress. And now it seems as though he's trying to take that progress away. And I think that's unfortunate. It's downright a shame. And we have to resist with every ounce of everything that we can muster to make sure that we continue to go forward and not backwards.
Absolutely, Congressman. His niece, Mary Trump, believes that he has dementia. Do you agree with that?
Well, I don't really, have the medical pedigree to make certain kinds of diagnoses. I can say what I think, I can say what I feel, but it seemed to me that what he has is a strong desire to be a dictator
Yes.
in what has known to be a democracy or a democratic republic where people can be seriously engaged in making decisions. And it seems to me that he wants to make all of the decisions himself with just a few people around saying, yassa, yassa. But the decisions are his. And I know people who just don't believe that that's the way they want to live. That's not what they want their country to be. And that's not what they're going to stand for. So they're going to resist. They're going to fight back. They're going to say, no matter what, we are. Look, I yeah, I'm becoming part of the aged group. But you know what? I remember when people were earning $6 and $7 an hour. I can remember when people were earning less than that. I can remember when people were living in one room houses, and that was the norm where they lived. They used to call them shotgun houses, where you could take a shotgun and shoot through the front door and go out the back door. I actually have been in those kind of houses. I went in John H. Johnson's home that he lived in when he was a boy, and they moved it from out in the cotton fields down to City Hall and set it next door to the courthouse in Arkansas City, Arkansas. So people have made progress. I can
Yes.
recall when if you had a red sweatshirt like this, oh my God, you'd feel like you really got something. So what I'm saying is going forward is a possibility and a direction. Going backwards is not an option that I want to take.
Absolutely, absolutely. So back to the Affordable Care Act. What will people do when these prices, the premiums are rising so high, they can't afford that?
Well,
What's
even before the Affordable Care Act, let me say this. I say that there have been 4 or 5 high points in healthcare in our time. One of those high points was the passage of the Medicare and Medicaid Benefits Act in the mid 1960s. Before then, uh, before then,
yeah,
low income people in Chicago, Cook County, people used to moan and groan and argue about the second class medicine that was practiced in Chicago. And people didn't want to go to Cook County Hospital. We worked, we struggled, we marched, we demonstrated, we advocated, we did everything that we could do. And now Cook County Hospital is a first class hospital where people with no money, people who are low income, can know that they can go there and get great service thanks to Medicare, thanks to Medicaid, thanks to the leadership of Tony Preckwinkle, thanks to the leadership of John Stroger, thanks to those who came along before them And so we were riding upwards, constantly going upwards and not going backwards. And now, when you take away the Medicaid money,
Yeah.
you take away the training programs where doctors won't have any place to go and say you're doing it in the name of efficiency or you're doing it in the name of whatever. But the real deal is you're taking away the money and you're saying to the wealthiest part of the population, the 1%ers, we're going to give you a big tax break so that we won't have the money to pay for medical care for low and moderate income people because we want you to have more luxury. We want you to have two boats instead of one. We want you to have two or three Bentleys or three or four. Some of them parked in the garage, some outside in the front of the house. And so you always have choices. You can make the choice to go up or you can go down. You can go backwards or you can go forward. And it seems to me that there's an effort to take this country backwards, backwards, back where individuals don't have the right to choose. Back where when I was a young person and managed to have a car on my block, and a young person had tried to commit an abortion on herself, and I ended up taking her to the hospital in my car because I had a car in a terrible condition, but I managed to get her to Cook County Hospital where her life was saved. And now women can make their own decisions, but there's an effort to take that away. After we'd had a law and a practice that women could plan for their reproductive health, they could decide what they want to do. And now we have a government that is saying, no, we don't think you're smart enough to make those decisions, or you shouldn't have the choice, or you shouldn't be able to decide. Well, I think that's wrong, 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 and wrong. And we got to stop it.
And speaking of being wrong, Representative Raskin has introduced a bill that will prevent, if it's passed, it will prevent the president from pardoning Ms. Maxwell, who was convicted, as you know, in prison right now for going along with Epstein and the abuse of children. How do you feel about that? Do you think the bill would pass? And why in the world would Trump be so against releasing the Epstein files?
Well, I don't totally know, but there must be something in there
Yes.
that they don't want the general public to know. But we'll find out because people have advocated, people have done everything they needed to do. And so we are going to find out. But people also must continue. This is not a project. People got to make sure that they are registered to vote. People got to make sure that they vote every time there is an election, no matter what the election is for. And people must understand that even though you don't know what's going to happen, in order to get to 1,000,000, you have to start at 1. So stop this believing that your one vote does not count. Your vote does count. It
Absolutely.
counts up or it counts down. If you don't get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, you can't get to 1,000. You can't get to 200,000. You can't get to what is needed. So, yes, as long as you are adding and multiplying, you're going up. But when you start subtracting and dividing, then for sure you are going to lose.
Absolutely. We have to take a break. We'll be back with more of On the Case right after this.
Soulful Chicago Black History Book Fair.
Hey family, this is Charles Humphrey of MCH Publishing, and I'm here with Ashada, and we at the Soulful Chicago Book what?
This is the Soulful Chicago Black History Book Fair, slamming.
We getting down in Hyde Park. Just run it down, my sister. Just tell us, for the people, a little bit about what we're doing here today and why.
You know, this is the Soulful Chicago Black History Book Fair, and this month is very important. I feel like we don't give it the type of recognition that it needs, but beyond that, I do all things literary, and we have so many ancestors that have taken a tradition of writing and done great things. Well, we have those of us that are carrying on that tradition, and nobody knows about them until now. So the Soulful Chicago Black History Book Fair is allowing us to tell our stories according to ourselves for our own benefit. And it's just beautiful. I mean, she could have been here today if you wasn't here. But if you were, it's been amazing. People came in consistently, children, and we have children's authors. We have nonfiction authors. We have fiction authors. This is really good. And it's about taking our own power in our own hands and doing what we do on the literary tip, though.
Right.
I got to work, but I can't help it. Everything going to school. And I just about bring my African shit like this. Bring in the African shit.
We're back. Well, I'm interviewing Representative Danny K. Davis from the 7th Congressional District. Again, thank you for being on the case, part of the Female Solution Program. Now, Congressman, were you surprised, rather, at Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene resigning? And she did mention about political violence being one of the reasons.
Well, there are people calling for all of these things all of the time. They don't necessarily get as much play as one who has developed a profile and who has a profile. I'm not really surprised at Marjorie Taylor Greene. I'm delighted that she has taken the position. When you agree with someone, you agree with them. When you disagree, you disagree. And so I'm excited and pleased that she has, what I would say, on some issues, seen the light. And, if you see the light, then you come out of the darkness. So I'm pleased that not only she and many others who expected that the vote to open up the file was going to be as one-sided when we finally got a vote. Everybody say, yeah, let's see. Let's see what it is. Let's see what they're hiding.
Yes.
Even Trump, finally, when he knew that he was going to lose, then he got on board. And so he said, if you can't beat them, join them. And that's what he did. Although he would want to have people believe he was leading them, but he really was not. He was joining them because he recognized that he was going to be on the losing end of that debate. And so why lose when you know you're going to lose, as opposed to winning when you know you can win? I noticed that in terms of the way some of our individuals behave. Like, we got all of these elections now. The election season is getting serious. We got a serious Democratic primary that's going to take place in March. There's a lot of people running, although everybody running ain't going nowhere, but they're running. And in some instances, it doesn't make a lot of sense, doesn't make political sense. It makes sense in terms of they have the right to run. But I have a right to want to win. I have a right to want to have people in office who come closest to thinking the way that I think. I that's what the politics of doing things are. You can never ever get 100% or 100% of agreement. I try and get those individuals who's going to do the most of what I would do if I was in that situation. And if I had the thought and the ability to do it. But if you sit on the sideline or if you just go along with the okie doke without knowing the difference between the individuals who are trying to get elected, then it's your fault. You know, we sing a song at my church. If I die and my soul be lost, it's nobody's fault but my own. And so if we miss the opportunities to put in place those individuals who think the most like we think, will act the most like we would act. If we do that and our souls be lost or our opportunities be lost, it's nobody's fault but our own.
Absolutely. Now, you have endorsed Representative LaShawn Ford. Tell us why.
Oh, I'm supporting LaShawn Ford for the seat that I currently hold because he thinks more like I think than the other candidates. I'm saying there are other candidates who think well, who are smart, intelligent, who know things, but I don't know any other candidate that lives in the community where I live that knows as much about my community, that interacts as much with my neighbors, my friends, my colleagues, people that I see every day as LaShawn Ford. And I don't know any candidate who has the experience of being a state legislator for 18 years. I'm saying all of them smart. Everybody's smart. Everybody knows something. But I don't know anybody else running that's been in the state legislature for 18 years. I don't know anybody else running that have made sure that the money from the lottery goes to education the way LaShawn Ford has. There may be somebody who's done it, but if they have, I never heard about it. I never read about it. I don't know about it. I don't know anybody else running that passed the bill to ban the box. Matter of fact, I don't know anybody running that really passed any bills because they have not been in the legislature to do that. So all of those are reasons that I am supporting LaShawn Ford to be the next congressman for the 7th district. And I'm going to be supporting people for other things also. I just haven't made all of the endorsements that I'm going to make, but I'm going to be supporting people who are running for judge. I'm going to be supporting people who are running for state representative. I'm going to exercise my ability to express my feelings about the primary elections and let people know who I'm supporting. I'm supporting a candidate, the lieutenant governor, who's running for United States senator. There are three candidates running in the Democratic primary. I can't support all three of them. They're all friends of mine, but I can only support one. So I'm going to support that one. So we have to make choices and make decisions, and that's what I'm doing.
When are you going to make those decisions?
Oh, it won't be long. I may just wait until after Christmas and let people get all the turkey digested and all the things that they're going to be doing for the holidays so
Yeah.
that they will remember who I'm supporting. I don't want it to get caught up in the chestnuts and all of that. But we will be doing a lot of stuff. We did a lot of stuff for Thanksgiving. Oh my God, we gave away turkeys and hams and stuff and food. It was so good to see people come to the aid of other people. But it was also kind of disheartening to see people drive up in a Cadillac to get a turkey.
I've seen that.
But, you
I
know,
have seen,
I'm saying, hey, give me a break. you know, here come a
no, no
Mercedes.
shame, no shame, huh?
Yeah,
I have seen that
here
too.
come a Mercedes Benz. Give me my turkey. I said, get the people on the outside, the turkey. Well, that's life. you know.
I know. So back to Trump. What do you think about his thinking about repealing the James and Comey dismissal of their indictments?
Now let's see, how do we handle Donald Trump? He,
Yes,
the president, he has not finished 1 year of his second term, which really means that he is in office for 3 more years. And there are all kind of ways to handle him. I know that there are individuals who would like to try and impeach him. And when they do, I will be voting for that. Uh, there are others who are trying to discredit him, but it's not only about discrediting Trump, but it's also about discrediting those who hang out with Trump as well, so
yes,
that they can't be the next Trump, so they can't get elected. If they support Trump now, please don't turn around and elect them to be in charge after Trump is gone. I mean, don't do that. That's the same as keeping Trump for another round. So let's
absolutely.
make sure that we don't let the little Trumps become big Trumps and be ready to take over where Donald Trump left off. So beware, be wise, understand what to do,
Yeah.
know your self-interest. What are you in favor of? I'm in favor of SNAP. So is Trump against SNAP? Yes. Are the people who support Trump against SNAP? Yes.
Yes,
So I'm against them because they are against what I believe in. It felt so good to have all that food on my table Thanksgiving. Now think of all the people who didn't have any, who wanted to eat, but they didn't have any hot water cornbread. They didn't have any turnip greens. I still got some left. Matter of fact, I wish I had a good piece right now. go home and maybe fix up something. But I'm saying learn self-interest and then just vote your self-interest and express yourself. Say what you believe. Believe what is good and what is right. Don't put people in office who are selfish, self-orientated, who are going to be cutting deals, trying to get something for themselves or for their one little group or their one little program or their one little area, and then pretend it's in the public interest. Understand what being a public official, not a private official, not an official just for your program, not just for your little money you may be able to get for something you want to do, but
Yes.
be a public, the best public interest, meaning everybody can get a little play, get a little
Uh,
shot, get a little break. I know ministers and other people who go selfish and get self-oriented for whatever they may be doing in their area. But look broadly. Go out in the deep water where the big fish swim. Make sure that there's enough money in the big pot so that everybody can get some of it. And then you don't have to lie and cheat and steal and be corrupt and all that to try to get your little piece of it.
Right. We have to take a break. We'll be back with more of On the Case right after this.
We are global transformers, changing the world from the way it is to the way it should be. We are one. Wherever we live on this earth, we are one human family. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to extend a greeting to all the members of our family, whenever and wherever you may be listening around the world. To our family in China, Ni Hao. In India, Namaste. In Japan, Konnichiwa. In Korea, Annyeonghaseyo. In Russia, Здравствуйте. In Germany, Guten Tag. In Poland, Dzień dobry. In France, Bonjour. In Spain, Hola. In Italy, Ciao. In Egypt, Ahlan wa sahlan. In Ghana, Akwaba. In Nigeria, Peleo. In South Africa, Sawubona. In Senegal, Nangadef. In Kenya, Jambo. In Israel, Shalom. In Pakistan, Afghanistan, Palestine, and Saudi Arabia, Assalamu alaikum. Greetings, and may peace be upon you all. Join us live on the on-air radio network called 727-731-5192. We want to talk to you.
We're back. I'm Chinta Strausberg, producer and host of On the Case, part of the Female Solution, interviewing Congressman Danny K. Davis from the 7th Congressional District. Again, thank you, Congressman, for being on the case. I want to know your feelings about Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, and there's talk about he should be impeached. And
He
particularly,
certainly shouldn't be no secretary of defense.
particularly when he's blowing up these boats. How do you know that they're really drug dealers when you have not given them due process? To me, that's murder. Am I wrong?
Well, I used to listen to the Hallmark commercial, well, Hallmark cars, and they say, when you care enough to give your very best. Well, I don't think that the president cared enough to give us the very best for that job. I mean, I'm, I believe in education. I believe in experience. I believe in preparation. And I believe that there are some jobs that you should have, not just on the basis of the way you feel, but also have you been prepared for those jobs? I mean, I wouldn't get in the cockpit of an airplane trying to fly it, even if somebody offered me the opportunity. I'm saying, here, Danny, come on, let's fly Air Force One. I said, no, I think you better get somebody else, Mr. President. I'm not prepared for that.
Yep.
Now, if you want me to help you make policy, you want to help me decide what's a good way to spend the money, where the money ought to come from. I'm saying this gentleman should have turned down that job if he was being really honest about wanting to be for the American people and do for the country what you would expect. He was not prepared. He didn't have the chops, as they say. He did not have the experience. And he should not be the Secretary of Defense. So, what can we do? Nothing other than ride with him. We can ride on him. We can talk about how the president has misused his authority. We can use that as part of why the president perhaps should be impeached. He certainly didn't make a good decision there. And so, no, he ain't ready. I mean,
That's
bottom line,
obvious. That is obvious. But what about blowing up the boats with? Because it could be fishermen, it could be immigrants trying to get to a safer place. They did not have due process.
people have said that this is perhaps the lightest weight cabinet that any president has ever put together in the history of the United States. And so, yeah, we disagree. We know it. America knows it. The press knows it. The journalists know it. And the only thing we can do is fight it. You know, there's an old saying that we used to use: he who knows not and knows not that he knows not is a fool. Shun him. We say he who knows and knows that he knows, he's a wise person.
Yeah.
Follow that person. But he or she who knows not and knows not that they knows not, get away from him. And so I would not want this gentleman, if I was a soldier and had to go on the battlefield, no, I wouldn't want him calling the shots.
Absolutely.
Not for me.
Right. The president is sending 500 more troops to DC. I don't think that's a good idea. I am sorry about the death of one of the two guardsmen who died, but that's going to be bad for business as well. We're entering the Christmas season. You got 500 troops on the street. What do you think?
I think it's not the appropriate use of the National Guard. It is not what the National Guard was created for.
Right.
And the fact that this individual who has been radicalized, and radicals sometimes use all kind of methods and strategies to try and get done what they want done. And so it looks as though he knew exactly what he was doing. It looks as though he understood why he was doing it. but he was radicalized to the point that he would be willing to create all of the angst that's going to emerge by shooting. I would say, obviously he's not ashamed of himself. Obviously he's not remorseful. I don't think I have any reason to believe. And so I don't think two rights occur when a wrong has been committed. Obviously, it's a wrong, and justice in one sense would get done. But I understand that World War I was started over the assassination of an archduke. I understand that the Trojan War was started. I mean, it's mythical stuff, but because two guys liked the same lady, Helen of Troy. And so wars and activities and so forth happen. A lot of things touch them all. And I just hope that people don't get too bent out of shape, and that the District of Columbia can exist as a peaceful environment that is the capital of our country. My heart goes out to the families of the guardsmen who've been shot and killed, and those who are fearful and wondering whether or not somebody else is lurching around the corner or waiting to take a shot at them. And so these are turbulent times for our nation.
Absolutely.
But I also believe that the president, the Panthers used to have a saying that you're either part of the solution or you're part of the problem. Well, I think the president is more a part of the problem than he is the solution.
Absolutely. And the Democrats put out a video, and they said that by law, constitutional law, that the troops do not have to accept and obey an unlawful order, and what he's giving is an unlawful order. What do you make of that?
Well, I certainly agree that soldiers or anybody should not carry out unlawful action and activities. And of course, when given an order, whether it's at your job, whether it's at work, whether it relates to law enforcement, whether it relates to something else, you should not be violating the rights of others. I always take the position that my rights end where the next person's rights begin. That's my personal assessment and belief according to rights. I have a right to do certain things, but I don't have the right to violate you.
Absolutely. When we come back, we have to take another break. But when we come back, Naima has a question. If you know that you're innocent, you know you're a citizen, how can you avoid being arrested? We'll be back with more of On the Case with Congressman Danny K. Davis right after this. We're back. I'm Chinta Strausberg, producer and host of On the Case, a part of the Female Solution, interviewing Representative Danny K. Davis from the 7th Congressional District. Congressman, what do you think about the MAGA movement? Is it dying? And before that, what if you're arrested and you know you're innocent? Can you do anything to stop the arrest?
Well, first of all, freedom requires eternal vigilance. And so what I'm saying is that the requisite for freedom is to fight to be free all of your life. That is not something you can deal with for one election cycle, or 1 minute, or 1 week, or one sense of time. Being free means struggle. I mean, the only way that you can assure it is to keep fighting and working for it. You hope that you live in a society, that you're part where the rule of law has been generated and that rule is implemented and protected. And so if you're arrested, obviously you've got to try and follow the processes and the
Right.
procedures.
Right.
But of course, the best thing is there's a saying that I like. It says, they are slaves who fear to speak for the fallen and the weak. They are slaves who will not choose hatred, scoffing, and abuse, rather from the needs and the truths they shrink. They are slaves who dare not be in the right with 2 or 3. But so try to be in the right, first of all. I'm saying, my friend Garfield Major used to say, black don't make you right, white don't make you right. Nothing can make you right but right yourself. And so Garfield was right. Right is right if everybody is right. Right is right if everybody is wrong. That right is right. Know ye the truth, and the truth will set you free. And so to thine own self be true. And so you know if you are innocent, you know if you are guilty. If nobody else know, you know. I'm saying you know. And so try and be right all the time. All the time. I have to live with myself, and so I want to be fit for myself to know. I want to be able, as the days go by, always to look myself straight in the eye. And so be able to look in the mirror and see a reflection of what is right. Because that reflection is you.
Absolutely. Very well said. What do you think? Do you think that the MAGA movement is on its way to the graveyard with all of the infighting going along amongst the Republicans?
You know, I think it's waning. But let me tell you, there will always be groups, individuals. There will always be those who attempt to thrive at the expense of others. There are those who will attempt to be wealthy at the expense of others. There are those who will attempt to deny others the basics of economic security. They don't care. And so you got to protect yourself. I'm saying you got to know that there are those. I used to watch Gunsmoke, and when it came on, it would say in and around Dodge City, there's only one way to handle the killers and the spoilers, and that is with U.S. Marshal Matt Dillon and the smell of gun smoke. And so the only way you can protect yourself from those who would be your enemy
Hmm.
is to always be on guard, always be pressing forward. I'm pressing on, Lord. I'm freedom bound. Plant my feet on higher ground. Never give up, never slow down, never give out, and never believe that you can have freedom without constant struggle. Struggle, struggle, strife, and pain are the prerequisites for change.
I do believe that. Now, Donald Trump has ordered no mentions of the Monday is December 1st, and it is AIDS Day. He does not want anyone to discuss it. If they do, and they use federal funds, the federal funds will be yanked. How do you feel about this?
But people are going to discuss it no matter what he wants, because there are those who say, give me liberty or give me death.
Death. Yes.
There are those who say, I don't know what others may do, but as far as me and my house, there are always going to be those. There will always be those who are seeking freedom, liberty, and justice for all. And so it doesn't matter what Trump wants or what Trump thinks, because there will be others who think just the opposite. There will be others who will be trying their best to block every illegal move that he makes. And so the struggle, a little, continue. The struggle must continue, and it will continue. And we, the people, will ultimately conquer without a doubt.
And I do believe that. But what do you think about all of these lawsuits that are filed and appeals? It's using our money, our tax money for this, not his. Is
Oh, I
anyone
think
keeping count of that?
different individuals are given different talents. And I think the lawsuits are wonderful. I commend even our Attorney General in the state of Illinois, our Attorney General, not somebody else's Attorney General, Kwame Raoul, for being one of the leading Attorney Generals in the United States of America, willing to fight to protect the rights and dignity of the people of Illinois.
Yes.
So Kwame is very engaged with the Attorney General's Association and is leading the effort in many of these instances to file the lawsuits, get the research done, generate the information, do his job and do it well. There's a saying, if a task is once begun, never leave till it's done. Be the labor, great or small. Do it well or not at all. And so he's doing it well. I commend him for the work that he is doing and the leadership that he is providing. And we have to do all of this. We have to keep on doing it, have to keep on moving. We got to keep on fighting, keep on struggling, keep on believing. All things are possible if only we believe.
Absolutely. Now, what should we be doing to resist? What are you planning?
I think what we should be doing is making sure that we have accurate information, making sure that we understand what is being said and what is being done, making absolute certain that we are registered to vote
Yes.
and that we vote for individuals who will stand up and fight for us on every front, and make sure that we teach our young people that you don't get too young to learn and that you don't get too young to know. And that if in unity there is strength, and that a people united will never, ever be defeated.
I
And
do.
just keep on fighting.
I believe in fighting. Now, Reverend, my pastor is Father Michael Flager. He's giving away 2,000 free chicken dinners Tuesday, December the 9th at 3 p.m. That's at BJ's Market on the corner of 79th and Racine. You get a free dinner, hot dinner, and dessert, and a beverage. And I hope you can stop by. What are you doing in less than 30 seconds for Christmas?
Let me tell you, I got some chicken and dumplings that Jackie Greer's mother, Mother Greer, made for me the other day.
Ah.
I won't have it around Christmas, but I'm going to be devouring it. Christmas Day, I do as I always do. I pray. I pray that the meaning of Christmas will be deep in the hearts and minds and bodies and souls. You know, I go out every Christmas Eve and go to shelters, been doing it for about 35, 40 years.
Mhm.
Visit shelters for women, battered women and children.
We're out of time. We're out of time, Congressman Danny K. Davis. Thank you for being on the case, part of the Female Solution. Thank you so much, Congressman. And Merry Christmas to you and your family.
Thank you so much, Lady in Red.
Thank you.
All right.
We've come to the end of our show today. If you missed any broadcasts, go to our website for the audio and video archives at www.thefemalesolution.com. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to thank all of you who participated in today's discussions. And to our global family joining us from all around the world, we say thank you. To our family in China, xie xie. India, Dhanyavad. Japan, arigato. Korea, kamsamnida. Russia, spasiba. Germany, danke. Poland, dziękuję. France, merci. Spain, gracias. Italy, grazie. Egypt, shukran. Ghana, madasi. Nigeria, eshe. South Africa, ngiabonga. Senegal, jaref. Kenya, asante. Israel, toda. Pakistan, shukriya. Afghanistan, tashakur. Saudi Arabia and Palestine, shukran. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Thank you, and may peace be upon you and the mercy of God and God's blessings. We've come to the end of our show today.